Hi there accessory makers, it's Diane from Spencer Oak Sewing Patterns with another little freebie tutorial for you today. This is the gift and goodie bag. It's the quickest, easiest little bag you've ever made. It's completely beginner friendly and you can make them up in as little as 10 minutes. So why wrap a gift when we can make the quickest, cutest little bag for it? This is great for small gifts or table favours. It's a gift and the wrapping in one. It's economical as there is no hardware apart from a plastic snap, and it can be used over and over again. I've supplied you with full pattern pieces for 2 sizes, and you can print them larger or smaller to make any size of gift bag you want to. Just follow the link in the text below to download the pieces. These are great not just for Christmas but also for birthdays, weddings, table decorations, hanging on the tree, even bag charms. This is a project for fabrics suitable to be left with a raw edge, such as vinyl, cork, leather, clear or jelly vinyl. So I'm supposed to be delivering Christmas presents this weekend, and I realised I bought all the gifts but I've got no wrapping paper or gift bags, so I decided, in my infinite wisdom, I was going to design something so I could slip all these little gifts in just with a bit of tissue paper or something. So I asked my Facebook group if they would like me to make a tutorial for whatever it ended up as, and it was a unanimous yes. So here goes. I've made the whole thing in 3 days, so it's not the slickest video, and you can hear kids in the background. There's a carol concert going on over there, there's drilling in the background, but I hope you enjoy it. My next hurdle was that I only had plain red vinyl or green cork, which might work well for a video tutorial, but you want to see exciting Christmassy ideas, and I had no time to shop. So I roped in my friend Tanya Martin from Beautiful Faux Leather and Vinyl, because I knew she'd have some excellent Christmas prints that she could share. Unfortunately, she's in Australia and I'm in the UK, so she valiantly offered to make up some beautiful blingy-ding Christmassy versions to show you how they could be sparkled up and to spark your imagination, so that I could get on with the pattern and get it out to you within a matter of days. Where else would that happen but the bag making community? Thanks Tanya, I owe you a big favour. So this is the gift and goodie bag. It's the quickest gift bag you've ever made. Tanya and I got it down to just 5 minutes per bag. Make sure you watch to the end because I'll answer all the questions you might have about using directional prints, lining it, using fabrics that fray, etc. I've added links to any fabrics or products that I've used in the text below this video, so just scroll down to find those. So here goes, your quickest gift bag ever. Let's go sew. So things we're going to need for this project: we want a fabric that's suitable to be left with a raw edge. So anything like vinyl, cork, most weights of vinyl, nice firm cork, printed vinyls, even clear vinyl and jelly vinyl work great for this. You'll need 1 plastic snap, or you can use a rivet-on magnetic snap if you prefer. If you want to be really posh, you could use a twist lock clasp, but make sure you're using a heavier fabric for that. We need an all-purpose thread, and I'm using 100% polyester Gutterman Sew-All. You can optionally use some glue, it just helps stick our facings on when we come to it, but you don't need it if you don't want to. And that's about it. I guess you could add a badge in somewhere, but I haven't for these because they're just a really quick project. So moving on, let's get rid of those. So cut your pattern sheets out. Print them off using Adobe Reader so it doesn't resize anything. Make sure your printer is set to actual size or 100%. Don't want fit to page in there, and you can print off your pattern pieces, cut them and stick them together as shown on the pattern pieces themselves. So you can see stick A3 to A1, etc. It's quite self-explanatory, hopefully. There is a square size box for checking that you're printing at the right size, a 1-inch square, so you can double check on that on the pattern before you cut out your fabric. If you do need any help with printing and opening PDF patterns, as usual, I have got a video on my YouTube channel to help you with that, and I'll link that below. So I've only got 3 pieces with this pattern. The reason I've stuck it onto my vinyl, I find it easier than using a rotary cutter and pattern weights when it's little corners and things like this. So literally I cut near to the edge of the pattern, stick it down with a bit of clear tape and then cut round it, because I find that's the easiest way to get an accurate cut. There are no SVGs for this, by the way, because I haven't done any. It's a free project. I was trying to get it out in a couple of days. I have to farm out the SVGs and they cost money, so hence there is none. Plus it doesn't fit onto a 12 by 12 mat, so no SVGs before I get all the hundreds of emails. The thing is, once you've stuck them down, nothing shifts, so even when you've sort of cut one side off, haven't got any clips on it or anything, nothing's moving about. That's why I find it's really useful. With a bit of sticky tape. Just a note, when you are cutting these long edges, please bear in mind that they're not straight vertical lines, they're actually shaped, so don't sort of whiz down with a rotary cutter. So that's me cut out and ready to go. Just before you start, you do have an option of edge coating each of the individual pieces before you start sewing. You can also edge coat the edges of the bag when you've finished as well. Choice is yours. Obviously I'm not edge coating today, one for speed, but two, it is going to be used as a gift bag, so I don't think it's really necessary. It looks fine anyway. Particularly if you use a vinyl that's got a nice darker back on it, you're not going to see that at all on the edges. As I say, I don't mind at all, it's a gift bag. So first of all I'm going to add my facings. Take that away. So piece A, I'm going to turn it so it's wrong side uppermost. If you are making in clear vinyl, by the way, you might not want to add facings because you're going to see them through to the side. In which case just use a couple of dots for strengtheners of self fabric or something. So here are my facing pieces. Again, another option is if you're using flimsy cork or very flimsy vinyl, you could actually stick two pieces of the vinyl together, wrong sides together, and then cut out the whole thing so the whole thing is fully lined as such, or you know, two-sided. But for me today I'm quite happy with the facing piece. So I've got two facings, one for the flap and one for, should we call it, the bottom at the moment. Let me grab my glue. So I've got my main body panel, piece A, wrong side uppermost. I've got the pointed flap section facing away from you. Let's attach the flap facing first, which is piece B. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue at the moment. You'll need a tiny dot. You could just use a clip, anything that'll keep it on there just temporarily until you stitch it. Bit of double-sided tape, not much. So just match the edges nicely at that top shaped edge so they're sitting exactly. So this obviously looks nicer than leaving it with no backing, but it also adds a base for our snap fastener, so we don't have to add any reinforcement, it's already there for us. And I'll attach my lower facing as well, so put a bit of glue on the back. I'm using Beakon Fabritac, by the way. I'm going to centre that along this short edge. So I'm butting it up against the edge centrally. And again, that's formed the facing for my snap fastener. So I'm going to top stitch both of these edges now. So on this side with the lower facing, I'm going to top stitch along this edge, 3mm or 1/8 inch from the edge. So the wrong side of the fabric and the stitching is visible on this project, so keep the beginning and the end of your seams and your top stitching throughout as neat as you possibly can. Trim it. Don't use your machine's cutting function, your underbed thread trimmer, as it can cause thread nests. So instead, lock stitch or back stitch and then pull the fabric away from the machine and then trim it. And you can trim the ends off, you can tie them off, you could even singe them if you want to, but I find just pulling it away and then trimming them in tight is absolutely fine. So I'll top stitch this edge. So back stitch, pull away and trim. And then you can get nice and close and you don't tend to get the thread nests underneath building up. So that's the lower edge top stitched. Now I want to top stitch the flap end. So I'm going to top stitch from where the facing starts to where it finishes. So if I grab a bit of chalk or a temporary pen and just make a little mark there to show me where it is. So I want to start and finish just where that facing ends. I'm going to top stitch again, 3mm or 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around here. You can flip it over and top stitch along there as well. That makes quite a nice feature. I don't know if I've got one here. Yeah, I have. There, I've got one that I've just top stitched at the top there. So it's a choice. You don't need to, but just personal preference. So that's all our top stitching done. So we are ready to already put the side seams together, but if you wanted to turn it into something a little more special, you can put loops or handles or anything on there. So I'm not going to put any on today because we're just making a little gift bag. But just as an aside, if you wanted to make it a little bit more special, just fold it up into the shape it's going to finish at, which is like this. And you can see how it's going to lie. So you can add any D-rings or loops or anything you want into there at the moment. So just do it while it's flat before you put it together. So you could add a handle onto the top here if you wanted to. You could put a D-ring into the side seam. So you'd add it just about here with your D-ring on. And that'd be facing outwards in this case. Or you could add, you know, a loop to the back for hanging from a Christmas tree if you made a small version. Or you could even put a key ring on it, anything you wanted to. Use it as a bag charm. So lots of different options, but anything you want to add to it now. Gosh, even if you want to put a pocket inside, you could put a pocket inside. But as we're doing a speedy gift bag, I'm not adding anything to it. So, side seams. Let's call these long side sticky out bits our arms. I'm going to lift both arms and attach them to the sides. So let's do this top end of the bag first. So I'm going to attach this side of the arm, the top edge of the arm, to this side of the bag. I'm going to do that on both sides. So just lift it up and clip it in place. So make sure that you're matching that corner at the bottom, and you should finish just underneath your facing. Shift it around a bit if you don't. Again, same with that one. Fold it at that V at the corner. So you can see what I've done. Just lifted those arms up to the sides. We'll do the same with the front ones, but it's better to do two at once. So do the back ones first. So now I'm just going to stitch down each of those sides with 3mm or 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Oh, I've just used my underbed thread trimmer. So that means when I come to do the next seam, I'm going to get a nest when I start off. So I might put a bit of fabric through it first. Right, I'll trim up, show you those. Trim up nice and close. Or as I say, singe with a lighter. So that's my arms attached on one side. So now I'm going to do the same here. Fold at the V and match those two seams, match those two sides. We're wrong sides together. This is a very simple project. We haven't got any lining, so we've got no seam allowances to disguise anywhere. We're just having them right on the outside. Same with the other. Fold along the V, match up, make sure it matches at the top. The stitching on the back, by the way, you can do that in one operation with the top stitching on your flap, but I find it gets a bit fiddly. It's easier to do it in two separate operations, but again, totally up to you. So I'm going to do those front ones now. Same again, 3mm or 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Let me put a bit of fabric through first so I don't get a knot. Yeah, see? That's what happens after you've used your underbed thread trimmer. You get a nice lovely thread nest, which doesn't matter if you're disguising it in a seam allowance and it's going inside a bag, but in this case we're not. So that's it finished apart from our flap. How easy is that? So your sides tuck in and your flap's coming over the top. It's a really cute bag. So all I've got to do is put my snap on. As I say, you can use a plastic snap as I'm doing today. It makes it nice and quick, nice and economical. Or you can use a rivet on snap or even a twist lock on something like a heavier vinyl like this. It'd look quite nice on there. So let's position our snap. I'm going to mark the position for the snap on my flap first. So fold your flap over into position. Make sure your bag is pressed down at the top and flat at the top, and fold it over into position. But make sure you've got a little bit of play in the top, a little breathing gap, because if you're going to put something quite wide in there, in fact if you are going to put something quite wide in there, you might want to give it a little bit more and bring the flap up. But as I say, just a couple of mil, just 1/8 of an inch breathing gap, so it's not creased over exactly on the turn. So just a tiny little fraction of breathability for it. And then I'm going to mark my centre, so I'll just wing it today, but about 2 centimetres up centrally. That's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to push my braddle or awl through that hole and through to the front on the other side, just so I can see it. I don't have to go through at the moment, so you can just see the mark there. Doesn't look very central, does it? Check that. Yeah, it's fine. I'm terrible for double checking everything, honestly. Double, treble check, and then better to check once or twice. No, that's the right place than have it in the wrong place. So all through there, all through the top, and then I'm going to add my male part of the plastic snap to the flap. So the cap goes on the top, and the male part, we don't really have much of a male part on these, do we? One part goes on the underneath side of the flap. Don't press too hard with your cam snap pliers. And on this side, the cap goes inside the bag, and the female part goes on the outside. Gentle pressure. How many have we broken over the years? So there we are, there is our bag finished. So let's snap that together. It's such a cute little gift bag. I think anybody would be glad to receive that. So I've made a few different sizes, different shapes, and different fabrics, so I'll give you a quick look at those too. So here are a few of my samples in various fabrics and sizes. I've supplied pattern pieces for the small and for the medium, but you can scale those up or down however you want. If you don't know how to print those smaller or larger, I have got a video on YouTube as well to show you how to do that, and I'll link that in below. I'll try and remember to put it up here somewhere as well. I scaled this one up much bigger so I could use it to gift a book. put a twist lock on it to make the kit a little more special. I think that makes a really nice gift. I think they'll keep hold of that forever. So as I say, size it however you wish. If lots of you love it and you'd like me to do a couple more sizes, just drop me a message below or in the Facebook group and I'll try and run up a couple more sizes for you for next week. I know I'll get the usual influx of questions on this, so I'll try and answer some of them now. Number one, the thing I always get asked is, I'm going to make it a quick project, can I use directional prints? Well, yes, you can use directional prints, but your print will be the wrong way around on the back. But it will be the right way around on the front if you use your pattern piece this way up. So cut it with the right in the wrong way up and your fabric print the right way up. And then you'll get it coming out so you've got the right side of the print showing on the front of the bag. So hopefully that makes sense. Just use your pattern piece the wrong way up. You could cut and sew 2 extra seams into the bag, here at the bottom of the flap and here at the bottom of the arms. But this is meant as a super speedy project, so it's not something I've done here. Can I line it? I know you'll ask me that question. Yes, you can. The easiest way to make it look as if it's lined is to stick 2 layers of the fabric together before you start. So rather than adding in a facing, just stick 2 layers of the fabric together, wrong sides together before you start, then cut out and then proceed to make up as in the instructions. I'm sure I'll also get asked, can I use quilt cottons or fabrics that fray? Well, the current construction isn't necessarily cotton friendly. You can definitely line this shape, but we'd construct it in a very different way and it becomes a longer project. So again, I've made this for speed. Can I add a firm base? Well, yes, you can definitely do that. You can either do it before you make the bag up and just add it between the arms, where you can see the joins, where the side seams will come, or I found it easier to just cut a strip afterwards the same size as the base and then stick it in the bottom afterwards. I don't know if you can see that. I did put a red base in there just to try and hold the book a little more firmly. Thanks again to Tanya Martin for coming to my rescue. She's going to be doing a little tutorial herself on how to really span dangle up these little babies for Christmas. So head on over to her group too to watch that. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please do subscribe and hit the like button. But do head on over to my website too and take a look at my full patterns. The little freebies that I do are just to show you how doable my patterns actually are. And I've got a huge range now at www.spencerugg.com. Join my Facebook group or my newsletter to hear about all my projects going forward, and do share your photos, we always love to see them. Right, I hope to see lots of these little fellas in the next few weeks. What are you waiting for? Go sew!